Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Celine Deborah Matingo and I'm a final year student at Africa University, currently studying international relations. So guys, after watching this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like and share. So our topic for today, which I'm going to discuss with you or present to you guys, is on women and political participation in Africa since the pre-colonial era. On our introduction, guys, we are going to discuss on women history appears as a relatively underdeveloped field without the depth of historiography and interpretation found in other areas of the study. So, guys, oral history, the mainstay of pre-colonial African history, rely on records changes in the activities and lives of women. So in a field as a new or as African political history, however, the history of women is still in the infancy. So guys, traditions are beyond the living memories and tend to describe the political history of a society, and unless the group had a queen or queen mother or female chief, they usually ignore women. So for the colonial period, government and government documents are on government documents tend to report women when there are problem is careers of venereal diseases as prostitute or illegal brewers. So guys, as can be seen, women are invisible or unimportant in Africa historically, sources and written records. So the participation of women in the political process of their respective society is an area that has attracted much scholarly attention. While some studies have focused on women's role in indigenous African political organization, others have traced the history of their engagement in politics from the colonial period to decolonization and the achievement of independence. So from the corpus of literature on this participation of women in politics, we can oppose schools of thoughts that relies largely on the romanticization of African women political history before European colonial domination, and other that emphasizes their political subordination and invisibilities. And also, according to the former paradigm, which I'm going to read here, is that let me read this to you. So, according to the former paradigm, women had numerous political power in their various societies until the position of European colonial rule. And then this means that the Victorian gender, when power was underdetermined and disregarded entirely. So later, this hold that so women and numerous political power in their various societies until the imposition of European colonial rule and the Victorian gender ethos, when such power was undermined and degraded entirely. So the current relatively marginal involvement of women in the political process can best be explained by the inhabitive culture and partial forces against women engagement in politics that characterize African society before European contact. So all things considered, the answers to the question on how much political power and control women had have continued to exercise do not lie in either of the two schools of thoughts. Rather, um, rather it lies somewhere between them, irrelative of the particular African society one focuses on. So, to understand the dynamics or surrounding the participation of women in politics, African political history is subdivided into four main phases: the pre-colonial, colonial, decolonization, and post-independent period. This author contends that the pre-colonial era witnessed the involvement of women in important but largely complementary political activities. The colonial period brought about the marginalization or even the erosion of female political power and authority in Africa. So, through the political arenas have become larger and wider since decolonization that they were during the pre-colonial period. African women participation in politics in the present day era could at best be described as active but subdivided. So, although women are very active as a result, they are significant. You know, women they are very active in their in current political mobilization. Look at Zimbabwe. We have Obama Chinguri. We had Joyce Mujuru, and other people who are in government. So they are now currently active. They are very active in this current political mobilization and electoral processes. They exercise subdued political power due to the politics of cooperation and tokenism, but have continually characterized as African political history, particularly since independence. Some of the key some of the key questions addressed in this presentation, including the following: what type of colonial organization were present in Africa before European colonization, and how much access to power and authority did African women have in each of the four epochs? What were the arenas through which they exercised political power and control? How did colonization and their external interventions, as well as internal dynamics, affect those treaties of power and role of women in politics and governance? And also, to what extent has African culture been a major a major visibility in our government, um, and what gains have been made since independence, and what are the challenges and prospect from the active involvement of African women in the political processes of their societies. So, politically, African societies has been organized in widely varying structures, from decentralized hunting and gathering bands to highly centralized kingdoms. So, nation states, you know what are nation states, right? And so nation states is now constructed in outcome of colonial colonization or colonialism have existed for the most part only since the last quarter of the 19th century. So subsistence pattern range from nomadic to horticulturalists to hunters and gathering, from aspiring democracies and to neo-colonialism, capitalist economics, and religion belief derived from Christianity, Islamic, and African tradition religion on animism. So, nation experience colonization by the British, French, Germany, Indians, Portuguese, and Spanish. the slave trade has been the mainstay of African history for some time, yet one would scary know that women participated in it. And also, indeed, women did participate in the slave trade as both perpetrators and victims. So there were no uniform social political system in the pre-colonial African society. Some societies were composed up of united empires and mini states. In most instances, for example, let's say, for example, political organization was highly diversified and decentralized, like pre-colonial, the Igbo society in Nigeria, and power diffusion in these decentralized politics. Power authority were vested in a body composed of the king and chiefs. In other, it was in a council of elders in alliance with tried chiefs and senior age graders. So the decentralized nature of African political organization, the small size of the political units, and the fluidity of the executive, judicial, and legislative function contributed to the wide dispersal of political authority among the sexes, age grades, C rate, title, societies such as religion practitioners, is diviners, priest, and prince. What are those called? Priestesses. Yeah, priestesses. So while the author acknowledged the diversity in African political organization, it adopts categorization models of cooperative dual sex political system as the basis for analysis women role in politics, which was adopted by Gwedon Mikkel. Guys, I don't know how to pronounce this word, but the spelling is Gwendoll, and the surname is Mikkels, Mikeell. So in this, I was explaining women and the pre-colonial period. So in dual sex political system, women organization acted as parallel authority structures on those of men. Political power was shared between men and women in complementary manner to promote harmony and well-being of society. So I'm now going to explain on women and the colonial period, how women were treated and how women were involved in this period. So in the section, we examine what becomes of pre-colonial socio-political system when it encountered the external force of European colonialism. So the colonial era in African society witnessed not only the European political domination and the imposition of new political system, but also the expansion of the activities of Christian mission, and also the trading companies in the continent, and also um, colonialism unleashed unleashed sorry colonialism unleashed forces and innovation that had far-reaching effects on African women in particular, and the entire society in general. So so in the period of former colonial rule, African women experience differently from men. Um, from men in several ways. The colonial effect was double-edged sword. Some of the factors erected, some of the factors created created some of the factors um, created opportunities that women exploited to enhance their status in society. Other undermine their economic, political, and religional powers. So the colonial period was characterized by the introduction of taxation, Western education, a new monetary system, alienation, and commercialization, improved transportation system, urbanization, and introduction of new technologies. So somehow, like colonial colonization brought many things which we have, and now we are enjoying those things. But um, nevertheless, this colonization affect many people's lives. So the period also saw the increasing penetration of foreign capital and goods in African societies, as well as missionary proselytization, and the erosion of African culture and religion. So moving on to women and decolonization politics. Sorry. So African women participated in the politics of decolonization of the 1940s to 1950s, as well as the 1960s, individual and collectively. So, in the case of Zimbabwe, Mbuyane is leading spirit medium. Priest was a major player during the first Chimurenga of the 1896 to 1897. Here and she passed away. She passed on to the 1973 as Chifombo. Chifombo also played a major role in the second Chimurenga. So, migration and economic diversification gave women an opportunity to form ethnic and career-based in affiliation and association that provided best for their political mobilization. So, one such women association was the Nigerian Women Union, formed in 1949. Yeah, in 1949, under the leadership of Mrs. Funi Fumilayo, Mrs. Fumilayo, yeah, Miss Fumilayo Kuti. So women also formed women wings of the major political parties in colonial era. And also, there is no doubt that African women were very forceful in their demand for participation in political processes of that time, and are also very visible in the colonization politics in Africa. And also, their political activities facilitated the decolonialization processes in the attainment of independence in many African countries as well. So also I'm going to discuss on women in post-colonial time. So most African politics since independence is alternated between civilians and military regimes. Most positions are occupied by African women are appointive, not elective. So this is weakened the degree to which the appointees could have exercised political authority, and also made them what critics have referred to as tools and stooges of those who appointed them. Some of these women were forced to relinquish their opposition in humiliation when they tried to assert a certain degree of autonomy or pursue policies that appeared de- detrimental to the interest of those who have appointed them. So the political price that these women have to pay bring into question that this the that the those who appointed them to such important political processes. So basically, in the post period, women have for the most part remained second class citizen, inheriting a dual burden of indigenous colonization, sorry, colonial sexism. So also one persistent factors that endangered women role in formal political is that their political participation since independence has been primarily in appointive rather than elective position. So it weakened this weakened women because they are only selected, not participation not participate in electoral processes. And also women who occupied appointive political position in the country were more vulnerable than men to suffer from unnecessary termination of their appointments. So one can suggest that women increase vulnerability stems from, among other reasons, their determination not to compromise their integrity and to uphold high moral probability in offices. You know, as we know that in Africa, uh, most political parties and processes are aggressive. So aggressive political commitment was often seen and as unfeminine and unhealthy for women. So we all know that women are vulnerable, and women, they scare, um yeah, women, they're not aggressive as men. So in some cases, women have been barred from participation in formal politics by their spouses and men relatives. So yeah, you know, as African, you know, African families, how we do things. Women should not participate in political parties. Women should not participate in political processes. You know how we are as Africans. So some of the cases that I'm going to look at as case studies, case studies from Nigeria and Senegal mostly. So I'm going to read this case study, Igbo women and political participation in Nigeria. So Gloria Chukwu 2009 examines the participation of women either directly or indirectly in the affairs of Igbo government, the British colonial system, the Nigerian political system, and in the activities of groups and subgroups that exercise authority. Both men and women wielded political power and authority through in different degrees in pre-colonial Igbo society, where social roles and responsibilities were the channel through which power diffused and where gender equality was measured in comparative worth. So hierarchical relationship in Igbo society were determined by age, experience, ability, marital status, and items of initiations, and also individual and power, authority, and respected as a result of their moral probity, leadership, charisma, uh, persuasive oratory, heroic military services, or gallant powers, as well as intellectual and business acumen, attributes that were not in sole position. So in these capacities, women and their organization acted as checks and balances in equal society political structures. And also, I'm going to look at this case study of uh, women and political participation in Senegal. So, women position in Senegal is often unviable, as in many African countries. They are always the first victims of poverty, violence, injustice, oppressions. Yeah, women are discriminated against Senegalese family law, and they have no right to land owners. You know, it's not fair, guys. Women are also they also participated in these wars and stuff. So it's not fair to treat them like this. They were also considered to be bedrock of society, often held high position as prince priestesses, priestesses, or I don't know what they call them, and rulers before Islam became the predominant religion in West Africa. Matrilineal position was common amongst many of the religion economic groups. So, in pre-colonial society, sorry about that. So in pre-colonial society, material rule also widespread among many Senegalese groups. In contrast to matrilineal position where male successor of the king's sister inherits the throne, in the uh, matriarchal system, women control both power and resources. Uh, and also, so guys, thank you for watching this video with me. If you have any questions, just inbox me in this YouTube channel. So in conclusion, so this presentation is examined women, African women participation in politics since the pre-colonial period through their involvement in such political processes as influencing the engaging in policies formulation and decision making in voting and election to political offices. So through African women might constitute a majority of African population of the voters, African women are not yet a political majority in terms of their involvement in government and decision making. And also African women since the colonial period, they have struggled to regain their traditional gender system of association that fostered community-based models of female mobilization and enable them to maintain certain economics, political and social organization that protest their interests. So in view of lingering factors and the fact that women involvement in